It's the mind behind the curtain with your hosts, Alex and Jose.
Yeah, yo!
How you all doing? Get ready.
It's the sound of the police.
The king of the game. The bad, the good.
The good.
Everything universal. The
Everything
positive,
universal,
the
man.
The evil. The real evil. The wrong.
The unknown.
And that's right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeah. It's up to you, the listeners and the audience,
Right.
to believe it or not.
That's right. Here we go.
Yeah, baby. And here we go, man.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Boom.
All right, so this is another episode of The Mind Behind the Curtain. Número cuatro. Our fourth segment of this whole thing about, you know, what we call
Conspiracy.
all out conspiracies. All right, man. So, where did we end on the last one? What was it, the last topic that we talked about? I think it was. It was something so good that we forgot. It was the Hornets. That's right. There's something about that. Anyway, so we touched on a bunch of stuff, people, and you know what? We've touched on stuff that has been falling through the cracks and throughout this whole pandemic. It's not all about the virus, man, and that's one thing I want to say, right? Some stuff has been happening before this whole pandemic started, and some more stuff is gonna happen, you know, after this, man.
Totally.
So one thing that I want to bring up, man, and you know what? It's a conspiracy that it happens to us every day. Every day.
I know what you're gonna say.
And the choking, man.
Oh.
I know. What would you think I was gonna say? Sorry, because I'm intrigued, man.
I thought it was the kneeling for some reason.
The kneeling, we're gonna lean into that too.
Okay.
We're gonna go into the kneeling because these have all become almost like I said before, rituals, man.
Yeah.
But what is the true meaning behind the kneeling, bro? What's behind the true meaning of the choking of the throat and can't breathe and us wearing masks? Like,
Don't you think that's related though? Everyone's chanting, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," and
Yeah.
yet you're wearing masks and you can't breathe you're wearing those masks.
That's right.
You can't.
That's right, man.
You're
That's
breathing
right.
your own carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
You're ruining your lungs, your immune system.
That's right. And you know, I mean, if we take this into some form of energy vampire sucking the energy from the masses,
Yeah.
right? By
'Cause it's
bestowing
global.
fear
Because
it's
it's
global,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're creating this whole vibe about like superiority and bestowing fear on people and feeling like
Tyranny.
I can do whatever I want to these
Yeah.
people. And it's feeding their egos and stuff and it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's all dictatorship and tyranny.
Yeah.
When it comes down to
so
it.
if it's a ritual, do they practice the kneeling? Like, what is the symbolizing behind
well,
kneeling?
the kneeling goes back to the Masons, the Freemasons.
Right.
They would kneel for a typical worship, and the worship was to give sorry or apologies to the devil, right?
Okay.
And allowing the devil to say, okay, I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also waiting for him to come back,
Right.
right? So it's kind of like you're allowing the devil to come into your life,
Right. So
when you're kneeling.
So you're disarming yourself from
Yeah.
what is good in order to accept what is bad.
Yeah.
Whoa, man. That's crazy.
And the crazy part of it is the time frame that the cop was kneeling down.
Right.
And the time frame the politicians are kneeling down.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're wearing around their necks.
Yeah.
The garments, right?
Yeah,
All
right.
of it's all interconnected.
All right.
And people
Yeah.
don't realize that.
Yeah, I see it, man. I see
Yeah.
it. And that brings up the deep state.
Oh.
I know you're very well informed and you've done your research on the deep state, man.
Deep state.
Take us through a little journey on the deep state.
Well, what's your take on the deep state?
Well,
I'd like to know what you think about what.
The deep state and what I gotta start the clock, man. The deep state, man, they got me confused. I didn't start the clock.
That's what they want you to do.
That's what they want you to do. Don't start the clock. So what happened is that I did a little research on the deep state, man, because I was like, what are they talking about, right?
Yeah.
And there was this conspiracy thrown out there that it was a body of government officials that wanted to throw out Trump. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That wanted to get rid of Trump.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're the left side or the right side, right?
Right.
Right? And so basically these guys, they want to
the Dems.
They want to continue with their traditions, and this brings up the other conspiracy: is Trump going to defeat the deep state? Is he going to get rid of these guys?
Right.
One conversation that you and I had was that when it comes to politics, you need both sides of the spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got on one side, you got the left side, and you got the right side,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether you call it the Republicans or Democrats,
Yeah.
and then they both attack each other, right? So they put on this show for the masses to witness,
Yeah.
right? But behind closed doors, man, they meet halfway and they're having drinks.
Well,
man.
you always got to remember, it's a two-headed dragon. So they have the same body, but two different heads.
Great analogy, man.
You know what I mean?
That's what it is, and that's my concept of what the deep state. The deep state is the whole body.
It is.
It's like it's them. It's just that they play reverse psychology on us, right? The other conspiracy is that Trump is going to be the next savior of the world, right?
There's a huge conspiracy.
Now,
about that.
there's so many people in Mexico that I speak to, people in Italy, people in France, and all this stuff. They have no clue what Trump is doing, bro. They don't even care of what he's doing, and whatever's happening over here, they're worried about their own issues, right? They
Yeah.
worry about their own politics and politicians.
Very true.
And so then what happens is that Trump is not going to be the world savior. He's not going to solve all the issues and all the problems. We got the UN, man. The UN is going to be the hero of all of this. That's my concept. They're going to come up with something, whether it's the miracle vaccine, you know, whether it's policing, world policing, where they're going to maintain peace, because they've been accredited in the past for maintaining peace in places of conflict.
But who is
right?
the UN?
Ooh, there it is. Ooh.
No,
And
no,
that's another conspiracy.
But on a serious note, who is the UN? Who is it
Tell
run
us.
by?
Tell us.
And who governs the UN? Who created the UN?
Who makes the decisions in order for the UN to bestow their own policies
Exactly.
on the world?
Yeah.
Who?
Who?
We're gonna sound like owls if we continue doing that, man. But one thing that I like about the conspiracy of Trump being the savior of the world is that, and that's the other reason why they're closing the borders. Because they don't want all these pedophiles leaving.
No.
And he is like, I'm going to go after all the pedophiles.
Yep.
And he's sending out the FBI. FBI right now, I think it's like on top of the investigation chain.
Yeah, they are.
And then you got the DEA, the CIA, and all these other
He has
groups.
different sectors right now working. Yeah.
But the FBI is basically the ones that are doing all the arrests. They just arrested that other Williams, whatever her name was, or whatever. I don't even want to mention her name, but she was the girlfriend to Epstein. Right?
Yeah.
And apparently she is due a day in court.
I heard about that.
that's gonna be interesting, man.
Interesting. And also now let's go back to Q, what Q stands for, or who's Q.
Right.
Well, there's a conspiracy out there, or people are talking about Q is a military bunch of individuals, right, that are intel.
Right.
Military intel, basically. So they are wizards on computers and hackers and all that kind of stuff, right? And that's what people think Q is.
I like that concept of Q not being a singular person, not being one person, but being
It's a
group.
movement.
And it's a movement.
Yeah.
I like how everything is happening and everything is related, because another conspiracy is that why are we technically disguising ourselves? Why are we hiding behind the mask?
masks,
you know,
that is so strange.
And like, meaning, what is the purpose behind the mask? You know, like for example, when there's rituals that the elite attend, like you've seen the movie, you've seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where this doctor, he thought that he had everything. He gets invited to this mansion, right?
Yeah.
With all these elite that are holding this ritual, and wearing masks. And there's always sex involved.
Totally.
There's always some type of sexuality, vibe going on, man. And this is the thing that
I saw a comedy just the other night.
Right.
And it had the same thing.
Okay.
It was Lovebirds. I think it was called Lovebirds.
Lovebirds.
I think it was called Lovebirds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went to this thing and there was ritual and they're all sexual on the stage and everything, and they all had to wear masks.
And I get it, man. I get it. We are sexual beings, man. Mm-hmm. And that brings up the other conspiracy, right? And if there were aliens out there, man, are the aliens conditioning us to become one gender? Like, to become one sex? And with all these movements that are happening with the LGBTQ or whatever, like all these people having sex changes and all that stuff, are they, is this what's happening? Is this where we're going towards, man? That's the conspiracy, right?
Well,
that these
conspiracy
aliens,
there is.
But there's facts.
There's facts, exactly.
And we're seeing it.
Yeah, there is. And the thing is, like the elite, they feel that it will bring us closer to like a galaxy alliance. Right. If we are one gender.
Right.
And maybe the vaccines have something to do with that too.
We had one conspiracy theory that you and I were throwing around that when they were doing the tests, every time they were running tests, right, we would see an increase in numbers reported of having the COVID-19.
Men.
And we thought that some of these Q-tips that they were shoving in in people's noses were contaminated. And they did find, and it wasn't a conspiracy like you say, it was facts that was put out there that some of these Q-tips were contaminated with the coronavirus.
With the actual virus.
With the actual virus. So technically they were shoving that virus into you in order to boost the numbers. Now, what would be the reason for them to do it? To justify
for the vaccine.
Right?
Yeah.
In order to say, hey, look, all these people are getting contaminated. Now, the other thing is, was it a small dosage enough not to kill you, but to make you sick, so you would have room in order to recover?
Yeah, right. That's what I think it was.
And it goes back to what we were thinking, that we were saying that the coronavirus may hold like some type of DNA in the virus that is making you feel like you should be one sex.
Maybe brainwashing you.
And that's
conditioning the mind.
Yeah,
because you got to think that Q-tip is going all the way up.
Oh yeah,
it's like it's hitting your pineal gland.
It is, man.
You know what I mean?
It is. I had it done.
I know.
I had it done. I wanted to get tested. Luckily, I was tested negative for it.
Yeah.
But it was very intrusive, man. It was very, very intrusive.
But
okay.
You also said it tasted like mercury.
The aftertaste, first of all, I felt like, like my throat was a little sore because I felt like something fell into it, like a chemical, like a taste. And the first taste that I was able to distinguish was like mercury, man, like metal, like almost like metal, right? And I'm gonna look into that. That goes back to what they were saying about Advil, right? Like, don't take Advil.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Why?
They were saying because basically it was an ibuprofen and it was gonna make if you had the coronavirus, right, and you took Advil. It was actually going to make your symptoms worse.
Yeah.
Right? Man, you wouldn't believe how many Advils were off the shelf. Again,
I saw that.
Conditioning the mind.
But you know why? Because Bayer.
Right. Again, going back to the companies, man, the corporations.
And who's in cahoots with Bayer?
You tell me.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is tied into Bayer? Oh! So see, it's all tied in. It's all tied in, people.
Everything's tied.
They all wanna. It's become a consumer war, right? Am I saying that right? We got all these products that are being sold by distributors in all these 178 countries. Which, by the way, there's about 178 Walmarts across the world, which is ironically linked to how many people are involved or have reported having the coronavirus. You know what I mean? Pandemic. It's crazy. Bro. So it's all this stuff, man. And let's go right into another thing, man. What do you got over there? Let me see.
Man. Let's talk about David Icke.
Ooh, man.
Okay. Now, is he part of the actual movement with the elite? And he's behind the scenes giving misinformation? Is he someone who has stolen information from other individuals and taken credit?
Right. David Icke became an icon for conspiracies, right? Like, he is the top conspiracy theorist out there.
Yeah.
Right? He started the movement. He started his movement of conspiracies with the Hollow Earth theory.
Long time ago,
And then he started talking about, draconian, sorry, man. Reptilians. And how the royal family are reptilians and all that stuff. So, again, he interlinked a lot of stuff, man. And he also, I think he influenced a lot of people in the science fiction world, right? He was saying that, if you look at Hunger Games, the movie Hunger Games, right? He was talking about that years before the movie came out.
Yeah.
He wrote his own books. He has a video out there, and you can look it up on YouTube, where he talks about how people think that he's rich, but he's not. But obviously the guy's made a lot of money.
He's rich.
So that technically maybe has put him already in the 1%. Obviously, this guy is mingling with the elite.
Yeah.
So
that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah, and that's how I feel myself too, man. Like, I think this guy already knows what's really going on.
Yeah. And he's leaking it out little by little to recondition the mind.
And along the way, making some stuff up.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff is controversial. Some stuff is sci-fi, and once in a while he publishes a book and makes millions on it.
Yeah. And what I mean? Live stream and all that.
And I think that video that he posted up there, he was taking you to your old house. To his old house. To your house. He was taking you to your house. He was taking himself to his old house, showing like...
Damn, I need to get home.
But he was like, he's got a mansion somewhere that he doesn't talk about, right? He's got a Bentley somewhere. 100%, man.
Yeah, he says he doesn't use cell phones.
Come on. So yeah, that brings up the thing about how many people, like, there should be a census of how many people believe in conspiracies and how many people don't believe in conspiracies, right? And we should make a world census. Because obviously now people are awakening to conspiracies and they're all doing their thing. It's really taking over the minds of a lot of people, man. I personally had an experience with a friend of mine who had a brother who became so involved in conspiracies, man. And this is the thing. If you're going to get into diving into the rabbit hole, don't dive into it believing everything you read. And don't believe that you're being 100% controlled.
Yeah,
right?
you got to do your research. But you got to do your deep research, and you got to not take one source.
That's right. Multiple sources. And like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to come out of this. As being yourself. Nobody's going to change you unless you change yourself. So this guy, he dove so deep into the rabbit hole, man, that somewhere on the internet he read that the only way to protect themselves from the spiritual beings that were created by the Illuminati, that were sucking the souls of people, were to paint his walls purple. Right?
I heard about that.
So his purple apparently protects you from this thing.
Yeah.
So he painted his walls, man. He got black curtains. Every time he stepped out, he felt like people were watching him. And, he was being watched by the big brother and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they were going to come after him. Dude, the guy went and had to be diagnosed by a psychiatrist because it consumed him, man. Right? So...
And it will.
So what can we tell people to snap out of it if they become too involved into all these conspiracies, man? How can we help them out? How can we make them not be part of that census that,
Yeah. First of all, you got to have a clear mind. And me personally, what I do, I meditate.
Right.
And that takes away my stress, my depression, whatever, anxiety, fear away from me, right? So if you really want to go deep, like I've been in deep conspiracy theories, then you have to meditate.
Right.
Have to meditate.
And that also brings up the thing about us talking about astral travel and acquiring knowledge that we may not acquire in our present, consciousness. Mm-hmm. We got to go deep into our subconscious. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, man. Anything else that you got on the list there?
CERN.
Woo! CERN, man.
It was created like September 29th, 1954. And basically, it's a European organization for nuclear research.
Oh.
But CERN, to me, is it actually, conspiracy-wise, is it actually opening portholes, bringing demons into this world?
Right.
Extra-dimensional beings? Is it trying to do things? And you know what's really weird? Since CERN has been operational, more Mandela effects have happened.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, what was that movie, Phoenix Rising or the Phoenix Project or whatever?
Phoenix Rising, I think.
Something like that, yeah, where they open up portals and stuff.
Yeah,
and then you got the Pacific Rim, where there's these aliens that live in the earth and they open
come out. Yeah.
Maybe it, like, from my perspective, is that maybe the Big Bang Theory, bro, was a portal that we weren't supposed to open,
and it happened,
and it manifested into the creation of ourselves.
Yeah,
it created all these planets and all this stuff, and I believe that there was life and beings before the Big Bang, right? Because you can drive yourself crazy on trying to think how big space is, right?
Space is everything and all around it.
Massive, right?
Yeah.
As a human being, you gotta think that everything has an edge, right? And it's expanding, right? What is it expanding to? You can drive yourself crazy thinking. It's infinite.
Yeah. It's
right?
totally infinite. And it's energy. It's all energy.
Exactly, man. So, if you, this is an analogy that new social studies teacher once told me about the Big Bang Theory. He said that if you look at it as a pool table, right, you're about to play pool and nothing is moving yet. The only way that life was created was through movement. As soon as you hit that cue ball, boom, Big Bang Theory happens, everything creates.
Domino effect.
Right? Domino effects. But what's outside the pool table? Who was that guy with or being that held the cue? Back to the cue.
Yeah.
the cue stick or whatever. Yeah. No, what's it called? It's called a cue. Yeah. And hit the ball, man.
Yeah.
And made everything happen, right?
Yeah.
Perhaps we opened up a portal that we weren't supposed to, and we are the manifestation of that. So
is it called a cue stick? I'm trying to.
Cue stick. Yeah, I think it is, man. Billiard cue stick.
Cue is the thing that you.
Man, this is what happens when you dive deep into the hole, man. You start forgetting about what's real or not, man. That's another conspiracy thing. But
reality and non-reality.
Exactly. That brings up our last topic, man.
What's that?
A lot of people during this time are questioning reality, right? The conspiracy theorists have a thing out there believing that we are in a matrix, that this is just a hologram, an illusion, right? And you know, man. Come on, spit it out.
Got a smile on my face like right now.
Spit it out, man.
Because I believe that too, in some sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at everything. It looks like we're all programmed, right? And I'm going to bring back this. Why was television actually invented?
Another conspiracy. Yeah. Manipulate us.
Television
to sell us product.
Is televising their vision upon us. Okay,
Yeah.
to basically recondition our mind.
Yeah.
From what we are young, right? And they started off with black and white, then it went into color, then it went from what was it?
Two-dimensional, three-dimensional.
Yeah, but it went from something to digital.
Okay. Yeah.
And then after
okay.
that, analog, was it analog?
Right. It was
analog.
like coax cables using analog, and then
it went to digital, right?
And then fiber optics, and now it's all like new technology out there.
And it's not only
now you have Wi-Fi, man.
Yeah, it's not
Streaming.
even reconditioning us; it's spying on us.
Right. Well, that's another conspiracy right there, man. Your phones, everything that you use these days, man. Like, you talk to your phone, you ask a question, and you call out Google. I don't want to say what I say because then it would call out Google and look it up. There's Bixby, there's Siri, there's so many apps out there that could potentially be recording you. And
we'll go with Google Maps. And what's connected to Google Maps? I can't remember, but it always asks me, "Oh, how was this place?
Yeah,
rate this place."
Whenever you look for an address, and also at the end of the day, it tells you your history, where you've been.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's telling you you've been here, you've been here, you've been here.
Yeah.
I looked at my map yesterday actually, and to see all the spots that I've been, and it goes back as like, I don't know, 5 years or something like that, man.
It goes deep.
And I looked it up, and man, like honestly, all of Vancouver it looked like it was infected with zits. Like there was a dot here, dot here, dot here. I was like, damn, I've been to a lot of places, man.
Plamidemic.
All right, man. So beware of the people that spy you, man. You got one more thing. Well, you got one more thing to close this to close this whole episode, man, of All Out Conspiracies.
NWO.
Ooh.
New World Order.
We're definitely in a new world order.
We're definitely in a new world. I don't know if there's any order.
Yeah. You're totally right, man. It doesn't seem like we are. It's very catastrophic.
Yeah.
And it's chaos everywhere.
It is all chaos.
People revolting, people doing their own thing. Do we need order? Like,
do we need government?
Do we need government? Like you got Seattle. In Seattle, these what do you call it? The no police.
Zone.
Yeah, the no police zone or whatever. No policing zone. They're taking over. Yeah. So will that take us into provinces in Canada?
They tried to do it here.
Themselves.
They tried to do it in Vancouver, and it was shut down super fast.
When did that happen?
Was that because a week ago?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and same with Ottawa.
Ottawa, Quebec, they've been trying to separate themselves from Canada for a while, right?
Yeah.
You got states in the, you know what? In the States, there's already like you got Texas, California. They're not listening to Trump. They're like, hey man, leave us alone. We're doing good. Will Texas eventually become its own country, man? That's a conspiracy that people have been talking about.
You know what? I always look at Jacob. Or was it Jacob? No. What was the name of the TV series when the nuclear war happened or whatever, and then all the states separated and they became their own identity?
Right.
And they had their own president in one part of the states and then the other, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going.
That's what happened to Africa, right? I think that's what happened to Africa, right? That's what happened to Europe, right? At one point, it was all one territory, and then eventually it started like breaking up into countries.
Well, look at Italy. They're saying, screw you, EU.
Right.
We don't want to be part of it anymore.
They don't want to be part of it, man.
Right? And same with Canada. Same with Canada. Alberta.
What do you see us being part of now that we don't have a seat in the UN, man? Like,
I'd be happy that we don't have a seat in the UN.
Yeah.
Because if we did, we'd be in trouble.
I believe so as well, man. I think, from my conspiracy side, I believe that, in the beginning, I think Trudeau was calling out for us to behave and for us to like stay home and listen to the rules. And he was very animate, and he was almost like scorning the people, bro.
He was acting like he was the father.
Yeah, like he was just mad, dude. And then they started bestowing fear, and then all the health officials. And that's what I've seen, that they've kind of toned it down a little bit, right? They're talking about the second wave, man. They're talking about the second wave. Will they bring back that militant mentality. Stay home. I don't think they're gonna do it because I think they need to prove.
Just opening up already, just slowly, how could they close it down so fast and destroy the economy again?
They did it to us in the beginning. Like when it first happened, it was very surprising, man. It just hit us.
Yeah.
Like we weren't expecting it, but we were. I was talking because you and I were talking to people all over the world.
Yeah.
And we were seeing the wave coming here.
Yeah. Before it even happened.
So I believe that he wanted to make Canada seem like it was falling into a crisis, and
it wasn't.
That the government, the Canadian government, can actually control its people.
Yeah, dictatorship,
right? Like it's almost like the UN said, okay, here's a list of the things you need to check off for us to give you points in order to be part of our
and get a seat.
And government failed.
Yeah.
And Trudeau must be pissed.
He's upset, dude.
Because I mean, you know, I compare it to what happened.
I think that's why he started, like, he really wanted a seat.
Wasn't he paying, sending money to the UN or something like that? Like, that's the other conspiracy theory, that when he was just sending billions, man.
Billions.
To get a seat, right?
Just to get a seat. He spent like 600.
Crazy.
It's nuts.
So, practically, the other thing that we can close this episode with is that as a country, as a nation, we can be self-sufficient, man.
Yeah.
And we can continue putting